Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. Finally my Grand Seiko came back from, I can't really call it service, let's call it withholding department. After a full 6 months, you heard right, 6 months, half a year. If you didn't follow the story, I bought the limited edition GMT Spring Drive SBGE245 in late November last year and went all the way to the Hong Kong service center of Seiko shortly after to address a very misaligned GMT bezel. Before you comment on why I bought it like that, just watch the previous videos and join in on this saga. It's worth it if you believe in the almighty Grand Seiko can't do no wrong hogwash. And let's be clear, I do quite like several of their models. I'm not hating really on Grand Seiko watches. I hate on the service they provide here in Hong Kong, a big market for them. The designs are very modern, the sports watches are usually very big. It took me a long time in the shop before deciding to purchase this watch, and I've finally understood why. Let's get into the subject at hand. A couple of days ago, I called the service center again for an update on my watch. In May, they had called me to say that Grand Seiko refused to do any work on the watch because they believe it is up to their standard. They told me the watch would be back in the June batch of watches coming from Japan. And yes, they never called back, of course. It was more than a month ago. So I called them on June the 25th to ask what was going on, and they said I could go there on the 27th, which is a bit bizarre. Everything with this experience has been bizarre, from the sales guy refusing to acknowledge the misaligned bezel to the service center delaying on and on and on, and then asking if the watch could go to Japan for an arbitrary 3 months, and then telling me I should wait another month to get it back when GS had decided not to do anything. So during lunchtime today, I went down, took a ferry, then a taxi to try to get as fast to the service center and back as I could, as it's really far in some rundown part of town I had never heard of before going there the first time. All I had was a piece of paper saying the watch should have been back last December. So I get there and there's nobody waiting, but they still give me a waiting ticket at the entrance and then they call the ticket number right away. Unlike Omega, who presented my Speedy back in a nice leatherette pouch when they regulated it within 2 days, right here in the center of Hong Kong, with live web tracking of the service progress, the $5,000 Grand Seiko came back in some bubble wrap and they gave me the lamest piece of paper, which I think is a perfect representation of the whole Grand Seiko service experience. Look at this thing. What the hell is this? Some poorly cut piece of A4 page with scribbles on it. Is that how Grand Seiko deals with things? Do you associate this with expensive watches? Let's read this. After checking the actual watch by Seiko factory, the appearance of the watch, including the rotating bezel's alignment, satisfies the standard. Meanwhile, they are unable to confirm the loose condition of the rotating bezel. It is in good condition. I never said it was loose at all. Even if they will replace the rotating bezel on change basis, they are unable to guarantee that the condition will be improved, as the phenomenon happens due to complex factors like the printing misalignment, on the dial ring, rotating bezel, and the misalignment of the dial legs positions. I mean, understand, you put the thing in and then it has to click in on the watch, but man, it's Grand Seiko. They can guarantee accuracy within 5 seconds a year on the quartz, and this watch is like within maybe 2 seconds a month, but can't align that bloody bezel. I mean, it's just exactly the level of thing you get with Seiko 5. entry-level watches, which is why I always say I prefer the Seiko 5, because you don't pay much and you get a cool watch, and if there's something misaligned, you don't make a big fuss like I'm doing now about it. But anyway, I inspected the watch for damages. There seem to be none that I can see, and the bezel is as misaligned as before. Here it is to the left, here it is to the right is further, the left, well, it's clearly too much to the left, and that's it. So they've done nothing at all for half a year. Now let's get something clear. If at any time the service center had told me that this was common and not something to be addressed, I would have said, okay, fine, that's how GS makes their watches, and I can conclude what I want about quality of their product. But no, the service center led me on and on and on about how they needed more time to fix it because they acknowledged that there was a visible problem. So how do I feel about the watch now? It took me ages to decide to buy it in the store, and I know why now. Just like a football team, it's not the sum of its parts, it's how the whole ensemble performs together. The tech is there, the colors and functions are there, and really it has a striking look to it. But on the wrist, it's not obvious that I love it. It's more like, well, yeah, this is special, but do I really like it? I don't know. For example, my Maurice Lacroix icon was an immediate purchase decision once I saw it in the metal. Never regretted it. It's also the reason why I wanted to fix that bezel, because I wasn't sure about the watch. So if I had to pass it on to someone, I wanted it to be perfect, because the next guy is going to be like, what the hell is wrong with this bezel? You know, this is Grand Seiko, the grandest of Seikos. The GS is thick and wide at the top, and one of the main visual elements, the bezel, well, doesn't align on the click. Anyway, if it takes GS half a year, I still can't believe I'm saying that, half a year to not address a visual issue, how long will it take them to address a problem with a spring drive caliber? And it is possible that I'll never have any such issue for the next 15 years, but I don't want to find out the hard way if I do. This was just more aggravation than anyone should be subjected to when they purchase a luxury item. And I just can't wear the watch and pretend it never happened. If you live in Honkers right here and are interested in the watch, shoot me a message. And by the way, you can totally, let me try to do it here, totally align the bezel between the two clicks. It's tight enough not to move. Au revoir.